You don't have to go out of your way to search and find the right teachers and make sure you study hard enough and you figure out all the right rituals and meditations and open your third eye and eat the right foods and make sure blah, 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 blah. No. When you wake up from being asleep, do you have to force yourself to wake up? Do you have to make sure, say it's just a day that you don't have an alarm set, right? It's the weekend. You can sleep in as long as you want. There's no time that you need to wake up. There's no time frame that's I have to wake up at this time or else, okay? You just get to wake up when you wake up. You don't have to force yourself to wake up. You will eventually, at some point, just open your eyes and be awake out of your sleep. Well, essentially, it's the same thing for you waking up from your illusion. You don't have to go out of your way to search and find the right teachers and make sure you study hard enough and you figure out all the right rituals and meditations and open your third eye and eat the right foods and make sure blah, 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 blah. No. Because, and I'll explain this very simply to you. All you have to do is allow your own feelings in your body to show you exactly what to do in each moment. And this is where your intuition comes in, okay? Maybe you've heard that word before, maybe you haven't, but your intuition is really your feelings and your connection to that expanded version of yourself that I was talking about before. The expanded you, the you that is everything, makes up everything, and knows exactly what's actually going on. The you that isn't stuck inside the illusion. Your expanded self speaks to you and allows you to communicate with it through your feelings. Now, I'll make this really simple for you. Grab something, anything. Okay, I got a hair clip. And hold it in your hand. And just hold it. And then as you're holding it, you kind of can just feel it in your hand. Yeah, it's there, right? Imagine this thing that you're holding inside your mind's eye. The thought of it. Can you imagine it as a thought? Got it? Okay. What makes this different than the thought inside your mind? What makes the thing in your hand real? Well, you could say, well, I can see it. Well, you can see it inside your mind's eye too, so what's the difference? You can feel it. It feels solid. There are feelings creating the idea in your experience that this is real and it's actually here because you can feel it. You may need to let that sink in for a second. But your feelings are the only thing that makes this reality real. I'll give you another situation. Okay? Close your eyes and imagine you're hugging somebody that you love. You can conjure up the feeling. You can. You may have to relax for a second and chill out and be present, way more present than you maybe ever have been in your life. But you can allow yourself to conjure up that feeling because it originates from you. None of the feelings that you experience actually originate from anything outside of you. The feelings of objects, the feelings of people, the feelings you think you get from situations or from people, all come from you. You're the one creating and projecting the experience and then creating the feelings to make it seem real. That's how brilliant the illusion of the game is. It's like VR on steroids, right? You've created this whole entire feeling machine, essentially, that is your human body, that allows you to experience the illusion. Now, back to the story, as I'm learning about this, I'm like, wait, so all I have to do is feel my feelings. Okay. So where the fuck do I even start with that? What are you talking about? And Sam's like, sit with yourself for 5 minutes with no distractions. Just sit there and exist. That's it. No meditation, no breath work, no nothing. And I'm like, for some reason, it had never occurred to me at the time to ever do this. Ever. The only time I had ever sat with myself in like a meditative state or something like that was while music was playing during Shavasana in yoga, or while I was doing like a guided meditation. So there's still something going on. It's not just silence in my head. So I sit there. I set a timer on my phone for 5 minutes and I just sit there. And it was like the most profound 5 minutes I've ever had. Because I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I'm actually here. Like, it just had never really occurred to me, the awareness that like, I'm actually here. Unless I was tripping on mushrooms, right? But just being completely sober, completely normal throughout my day, I'm like, I can just sit here for 5 minutes and nothing bad will happen. Nothing's wrong. I can just like breathe and like do nothing for a sec. Oh my God, it was like a relief. It was like, I didn't realize how much I wanted to do that. To just sit there and shut up and relax. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I would be doing something where I could relax per se, like tanning or, sitting with myself or anything. But I had a podcast going. I had an audiobook going. I always had some sort of stimulation happening. It was never just me being there. So I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. And then she introduced me to the statements exercise, which is in the book, Quantum Networking. If you haven't read Quantum Networking, it's in the description. Get it. Tells the whole story. But the statements exercise is allowing yourself to see that you create the experiences in your life that are not so preferable. And this all comes back to your feelings again, right? So the statements exercise is essentially saying out loud to yourself, I am willing to admit that I enjoy the feeling of blank experience. Now, at the time, I hated one of my roommates, okay? Her dog shit everywhere, was always barking. She didn't take care of it. It was ruining the house. Like, she was disrespectful, like annoying, like everything. I just thought she was the worst person ever, essentially. And I was so afraid, there's multiple parts of the story, but I was so afraid at the time that I was going to have to pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of like repairs to this beautiful mansion that I was living in, because my name was the only name on the lease. Okay, I had these 5 other roommates, but it was just me on the lease. And I had paid a $3,600 security deposit, but I was like, the floors are ruined. Like, this whole room is gonna have to be remodeled. Like, she ruined everything. I was so scared that she was gonna leave at the end of our lease, which was in a couple months at the time, and leave me with like these thousands of dollars worth of bills that I was like, I don't have any money for any of this. At the time, I was like, I don't even have $3,000. Like, I don't have this. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. Like, this is freaking me out. Like, I was staying up at night with anxiety about this. And once I learned about the statements exercise, I go, okay, Sam is telling me that my feelings are creating this experience. And if I just allow myself to see that I'm enjoying the feelings, the experience doesn't have to continue. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to give this a try because I am so like stressed about this roommate situation. So I lay down one day and I go, all right, I'm going to lay here and I'm going to feel my freaking feelings about this and see what happens. So I use the statements exercise and I'm like, I am willing to admit that I enjoy the feeling of being so fucking scared that I'm gonna have to like move back home with my parents because I can't afford to pay this, or I'm gonna get sued and blah, blah, blah. And every worst case scenario starts coming up. And I'm just letting them flow. Which like to me at the time was like, you can't do this. in the manifestation world, I had understood that like if I have these negative thoughts, they will manifest. So to me, I was so scared ever to let myself fully indulge in them. So I'm like, they're gonna manifest. I'm gonna be fucked. I have to stay positive, right? So I'm like, oh my God, okay, let me just shut the fuck up and feel it and just go into it. And I'm having all these feelings. I'm sweating. I'm literally sweating and hyperventilating, laying on my bed, imagining going to court, being sued, ending up in jail, like everything, worst case scenario, like being so fucked and so poor, having to move home to Minnesota with my parents and just start over from ground zero, everything. I'm sweating. I'm feeling all these feelings. And I'm just like, okay, I eventually get to this point where it's like a rush. The feelings are a rush. And I'm like, holy shit, this is giving me a lot of energy. A lot of energy. And then, as I'm sitting there just feeling all the energy, it eventually gets to this point where it just is like, I gave up. I gave up. It was like my body was just like, okay, I'm done fighting this. And I relaxed, and my breathing slowed down. And I came to this point of just total acceptance. I was like, if it happens, it happens. Like, whatever. Total just like peace and like, okay, you know what? It is what it is. It's out of my control at this point. Because essentially it was. There was nothing I could do about it. I was moving out in like a month and there was nothing I could do about it. The damage was already done. So I'm like, wow. And I felt so much better. I felt so clear. I felt like I could like focus on other things and just let it go and be like, you know what? I'll just handle it when it happens. When I tell you what happened next, literally was the moment that I was like, okay, no, this phase 2 shit is fucking real. I'll tell you in the next episode.